caddy and player is like a marriage. That's like asking, hey, you ever disagree with your wife? Come on, man.
Not me. No.
No, never. She's always right.
That's right.
I don't need Google.
Just ask her.
Everything.
That's right.
Yeah. There are, but at the end of the day, it's about accountability, and he knows when he's accountable for a mistake, and I know when I'm accountable for a mistake. And if you can keep that clear, you'll have a pretty good relationship, I would think, as a player caddy. And you also, the big thing is you can't be afraid, like as a caddy, if you ask me, there's a million yes guys out there. Yeah. And those aren't the guys you want in your corner. You want the guy that's going to tell you no every now and then. That's going to be the difference between maybe them making a putt, because you're like, it breaks more than that. So that's something, you got to be honest, and you can't be afraid of being wrong. You can't flip flop like, maybe it does this, maybe it does that. I'd rather be dead wrong and say, it does this, and I'm 100% committed to it, than being wishy-washy on it.
I think one of the funny things about we who play golf can't really relate to the fact that we're so jealous that you guys are out there playing all those courses and playing so well, but it's work for you guys. It's not a fun day on the golf course necessarily.
Yeah. I mean, I love playing golf. It doesn't feel like work, but there are times where it does. I mean, when it's raining, it's cold, it's windy, and you got to figure out all these things and do all these things while that's happening. Yeah. It's not easy, but I'll take that rough day over sitting at that desk back in 2014 or 2013 any day. The best day at that desk doesn't even compare.
Haven't filled out a call report in a long time, have you, Kessler?
Yeah, honestly, emails like, oh man, I missed work today. I come back to 130 emails, and about 100 of them have nothing to do with me. I'm like, why am I being CC'd on this? I'm not even in this department.
Worst day on the golf course is still better than the best day in medical sales, huh?
For me, in my experience, yes.
Well, I don't think anybody would disagree with you at all. Kessler Karain is our guest here on The Approach Shot. He is Patrick Reed's caddy. There have been some recent stories featuring Patrick Reed. Without any objection, I think we're going to delve into them as soon as we come back. We're going to take a quick break. We are The Approach Shot. Don't you move.
Hi, this is Neil Michaels. Did you know that 2 out of 3 men will experience some form of hair loss by the time they're 35? And lucky me, I'm one of them. Thanks, Grandpa, for the crummy hair genes. Thank goodness now there's Keeps, the simple, stress-free way to keep your hair. Before Keeps, I keeps my hair all right in my brush, in the sink, and I definitely keeps my hair on the floor. Well, with Keeps, you get convenient virtual doctor consultations and medications delivered in discreet packaging right to your door every 3 months without ever leaving home. Best of all, Keeps treatments start at just $10 a month. Isn't keeping your hair worth $10 a month? Listen, right now, for listeners of The Approach Shot, your first month's treatment is absolutely free. Treatments can take 4 to 6 months to see results, so the sooner you start using Keeps, the sooner you will see results. Seriously, if you're ready to take action and prevent hair loss, go to keeps.com/approach to receive your first month of treatment for free. You have to use this special web address to receive this offer. That's keeps.com/approach to get your first month free. keeps.com/approach.
Could COVID really cost you your home? Well, cybercrime is up 75%, but the type you really need to worry about is home title theft, which is why you need Home Title Lock. Cyber criminals are after our homes, and it's easier than you'd think. The title documents to our homes are online now. The thief finds your home's title and forges your signature on a quitclaim deed stating you sold your home, and he's the new owner. Then he takes out loans on your home and leaves you in debt. You won't know until late payments or eviction notices arrive. Insurance doesn't cover you, and neither do common identity theft programs. For pennies a day, Home Title Lock protects your most valuable asset. The instant Home Title Lock detects someone tampering with your home's title, they help shut it down. Go to HometitleLock.com and register your address to see if you're already a victim and receive 30 free days of protection with promo code RADIO. Go to HometitleLock.com. HometitleLock.com.
Thanks for hanging and coming back. We are The Approach Shot. He's Neil Michaels. I am John Ashton. And you've been chomping at the bit, Neil. There's some questions you want to ask.
Well, before we get into the controversial stuff, I have one question that's not controversial that should put a smile on your face. Last year, you're at the Open. Patrick makes only the third hole-in-one in Winged Foot's U.S. Open history. Who's responsible for the hole-in-one, him or you?
I could tell you how the conversation went. I mean, it was a 9-iron all day, but he wanted to hit it full. I had some numbers in my head, and I said, I think you take about 90. I go, you go about 90% on it. And sure enough, it was the right club.
Yeah.
All day. So I was happy about that. And, it's a hole-in-one, and then all of a sudden we get, typical hole-in-one, the crowd's going crazy. Everyone's nuts. On this particular one, it was like we weren't even sure it went in until like good 20 seconds after it happened. Like, oh, I think it's in. Yeah, it's in. The person's doing that. So, because there was like 5 people on the green.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm excited to have, even if it's not quite as many, having people back at a tournament like this or Augusta coming up, It's going to be awesome.
But Neil, you always give credit to the golf gods for those.
Yeah.
Always.
Gotcha. Yeah, you got to tip your hat to them, no doubt. Watching out for you.
Sacrifice is what I try to do. But
what you had alluded to earlier, we would be remiss if we didn't ask. This has been a very controversial year. There have been people in the media, there have been people on social media that have said Patrick doesn't follow the rules exactly, and he follows his own rules. And we actually had Bob Herrig on from ESPN.com a couple of weeks ago. And he said, this is a lot of talk about nothing, and it's a lot of poo-pooing. And what's your take on all this? Because frankly, it does, to John and I, it also sounds like a lot of hullabaloo about nothing.
For me, I look at a lot of regular media, not just Golf Channel, but a lot of media outlets today, how journalism is kind of taking a dive, and it's all about ratings. And it's not about who has the right information. It's who has the first information, whether it's accurate or not. And then, ratings drive business for them. And these guys, it's use Patrick as a stepping stone to increase their position and whatever that might be. And it doesn't matter who they got to step on to do it, whether they're right or wrong. And that's kind of generally how I look at some of those people, and one player does one thing, no matter who, a lot of guys can do the same exact thing and no one bats an eye. And Patrick Reed does it and everyone loses their minds, and then eventually some people need to start thinking critically. And I've listened to a lot of podcasts where they're very harsh, and I've seen, thought about a couple good points, and I'm like, okay, I see why you see it this way or that way. And that's okay. And I understand. But then some people are almost so blinded by hate that they almost want to believe whatever they can, and then they just buy into it.
Yeah.
And that's where, you got to kind of take a step outside the frame in order to see the big picture. There's just a couple guys they just don't seem to like him, and that they're going to bash him as much as they can because they know every time they say his name, the little ticker goes up just a little bit.
Right.
And then guess what? They see that and they go, well, every time I bash this dude, I just keep getting likes. Likes. And that's what we deal, or that's what they deal with nowadays.
Yeah.
They can deal in likes and shares all day, and we'll deal with hardware and trophies all day, and I pay attention to it, but I also don't let it get to me. That's how that is.
One of the things that really ticks me off, and I'm sure it would get to you guys too, is the whole idea that somebody could come back 30 minutes after something happened because somebody saw it on TV or somebody saw it on a video shot and somebody said, hey, wait a minute, that ball moved. Let's check that out, and call penalties way after the fact.
Yeah. And I mean, if there's a penalty, and at the end of the day, if the rules officials deem it a penalty, something that should be penalized, then you say, okay, cool, I'll take it. I'll take that like a man. Just like how in any other sport, if they go back and they do a review and your foot's out of line and you go, I didn't feel like it was out of line. Right. But if the ref says it is, then I just have to take it for what it is, regardless of how it affects the outcome of the game. And so that's just how you have to look at it. And that's how, he's been. If they say, hey, you get a penalty here and this is what this is what you're getting served with, fine. If that's all you got to show me, then I got to go with what you believe. And they're rules officials. They've been doing this for a really long time, so they know what they're doing. But also at the same time, the rules are constantly changing and there's a lot of gray areas, and even they need second opinion sometimes. Yeah. And these are guys that are supposed to be experts on it. It's like so many rules to golf, and to think that there's not a little bit of discrepancies in some, like, you know, like a waist area, you know, for years. Okay. Waist area, you can ground your club or can't you ground your club? Oh, you can ground your club now. Okay, cool. And then, you know, hazard, can you ground your club in a hazard? For years, you couldn't. Now you can. You can even take practice swings in the hazard. Like, you know, and guys that have been doing that, you know, been living with the rule of not putting their club, even though they know that this rule's been in effect for, let's say, 2 years now, they still call over an official to ask. And it's like, this is the 5th time you've asked this season, but they just can't, you just can't get over that habit of like, hey, I can't like be messing around in here. So there's just so many things to think about at once. And, you know, and that's the thing, like you're going through emotional roller coasters. You're thinking about all kinds of things. Like it's easy to make a stupid mistake and not realize that you're making a mistake when you're in those moments.
Yeah, I can imagine.
And so that's very possible. And for people to think that they're perfect and that they would never be able to be capable of those things and not know that they're doing, come on, man.
Yeah, definitely.
I've made plenty of mistakes in my life, not thinking that I was doing anything wrong. And then I look back at it, I'm like, man, that was pretty stupid. I was like,
so right or wrong, Kessler, right or wrong, Patrick seems to be deemed the bad boy of the PGA Tour. Does he own that, or does that bother him?
I think we're past it bothering anything. You know, like if you want to call him the villain, he'll lean into it and he'll give it. Like, I mean, Mexico City, there's some guys talking trash, and you know, I'm sitting over this putt and we're both grinding, and I'm like, I want to see him make it so we can, like, you know, almost be like, you can chirp all you want. This ball is going in that hole. And of course, you know, he just drank, like, no question. It was good 4 feet out. I was like, that's going in. And I mean, you know, you kind of turn around and look at Stan, like, don't forget why you're over there. But it's fine. And that's what's great. And like to combat that, that's just clutch. Anyone can say what they want, but I would say having Patrick Reed as a teammate and as my teammate, I wouldn't want to work for anyone else because he's got ice water in those veins.
Yeah.
Yesterday, you just declared that you're going to be playing again at Travelers, right?
Yes. Actually, someone did tell me that they were super excited to see us on the list, which that's a tournament that is like just hands down a great tournament to be a part of.
How difficult is it to pick the tournaments you want to play in?
Well, that's not my job, so it's actually very easy. I just show hey, where do you want me to be? I'll be there.
Yeah. I mean, does Patrick make those decisions, or is his manager, or is it?
He's pretty much, most players are the ones that are making those decisions. And sometimes some things aren't on the list, but things change as, you know, depending on how you're playing, and you're like, man, we need to pick up an extra event, or we might need some reps. Or you're looking at points, like, all right, Ryder Cup points, like, I may not play this course that great, but if I could snag about a top 20, I can get a couple nickels and dimes on some of these other guys.
Right. Because
at the end of the stretch, you're thinking about those nickels and dimes that you could have gotten. That putt, man, that one putt, that's this many points and that many points. And then come down the end of the season, you can't get comfortable. Guys get a win and they see their rank up on the Ryder Cup sheet or FedEx. I'm going to take like 2 or 3 weeks off. And it's like, no, you're playing good. Keep playing.
Keep going.
But you get comfortable. And then those guys that are hungry, like Patrick, are like, well, I'm just going to play as much as I can. And I'm going to nickel and dime you if you let me. So
that's great.
And then of course, when you win, it's just great. Like you're nickel and diming and then you're winning on top of it. I mean, that's why we've been in every team event since 2014. And he's only been a pick for one of them.
Right.
So he's made it on the number.
Yeah.
We've been a bubble boy most of those years, where he's always grinding to keep that last spot, and he's always pulled through. And like I said, the only time he's been a pick, he was definitely already well proven in a team like in the team games.
Yeah.
And none other than Tiger Woods is the one that picked him. So to go against Patrick being picked is to go against the GOAT himself.
Exactly.
So
we have
my guess.
We have a 6-pack of questions, and we're running out of time. So we're going to take a quick break and be right back. Hang out with us. We are the Approach Shop. During this whole COVID lockdown, I've been telling people I like to sleep in sweatpants. And when they ask me why, I tell them so I can get up, roll out of bed,